start in terms. Okay, so let's start in terms of some introductions. So the first persons I want to introduce is our panelists. But right before then, let me mention to you a couple of people, a few people we need to mention. First is that I want to particularly thank the staff, Kishma and Nicole. They've been instrumental to bring this together. Without them, this certainly could not have happened. I also want to mention that we at Disability Rights Center, along with many of our partners, both on the job seeker side as well as the employer side, have come together to bring this together. So I want to give a shout out to all our partners. Julian Henley with the ADA Territorial Coordinator. We want to certainly acknowledge the Social Security Program, the Ticket to Work with Magali De Jesus. We want to also thank Department of Labor. They work with us both on the employer side as well as the business side. We want to give a shout out to the Virgin Islands Center for Excellence in Developmental Disability out of the University of the Virgin Islands. They work both with us, with the employer and the employee side. Certainly the Small Business Development Center, who's also out of the University of the Virgin Islands, along with VIU said, big thanks to them. They're one of our first partners who joined for the ADA celebration almost 2 years ago. And certainly the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority with Chanel Peterson. We are just so excited to have everyone joining us, participating and supporting this great cause. And we hope that if this is successful this time, we'll be able to continue this type of recruitment. Okay, so let's get to the stars of the show today. Let us get to the recruiters. So we have with us 4 exceptional recruiters. We're going to have each one of them introduce themselves, their name, their title, the company, and how long they've been there. So Sim, would you like to start first, please?
Morning, I'm Sims Lawson. I am a management consulting working with Sion Farms Distilleries. I've had the pleasure of working with them since 2016. At that time, I was with this Small Business Development Center, and so I know a bunch of people already on here. As far as that goes, Todd and our HR person are off island right at the moment, but at the end, I will give names and phone numbers to connect with. Excited to be here today and appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Sims. Thank you. Juliet, would you like to go next?
Yes, good morning. My name is Juliet Bynum, and I'm the director at Select Temp Staffing. I was a founding partner in 2008. Yeah, we're located on St. Croix, but we staff throughout the Virgin Islands.
Wonderful. Thank you, Juliet. Brandi?
Good morning. My name is Brandi Charles. I am the Director of Human Resources Operations, and I work at the Ritz Carlton, St.Thomas. I began here 10 years ago, almost exactly as of a week ago, but I have worked at several other Marriott and Ritz Carlton properties over the last 10 years, including Frenchman's Reef for 2.5 years.
Wonderful. And Brandi was actually the first person I reached out to, so it's great to see that made it through. All right, Lisa from the hospital, welcome and introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lisa Williams-Norman. I'm the HR manager here at Schneider Regional Medical Center. I've been working for the organization for 14 years now in HR, and I'm excited to be here. We're definitely strong supporters of our disabled community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And let me give 2 more shout outs and thank yous. One, Stella, who is joining us as interpreter. And also want to give a little special thanks to our Director of Advocacy, Archie Jennings. He was the one that supported me certainly with this idea and ran with it, and now it's come to fruition. So thank you, Archie, for believing in this idea, and let's start. So I'm going to start with the first question, and again, Melita will ask the second, and we'll go back and forth. For the participants, please have, in terms of any pen and paper, to be able to take notes. And I was just told also our new executive director is online as well. So we want to certainly give him a shout out, and that's Angus. Angus, thanks for joining. Also, thanks for being a part of this as well. So is there any words you'd like to say before we start?
Unmute. Hi, everybody. My name is Angus Drigo. As Shami said, I am hoping for a very engaging encounter this morning. It's an opportunity for job seekers to meet with folks who are interested, and I'm sure there are people online who are employers as well and not part of the panel, to showcase that there are a lot of people out there with disabilities who have a lot of talent and willing to take responsibilities for themselves without having any other aid, and they will be welcome part of the workforce. I encourage also the employers to network and also engage your peers in making sure that we can promote what we're doing here today and to see the lots of benefits of hiring people with disabilities. And Shami, thank you for hosting this with the group at the RCVI and your co-host, Malika Etienne.
Thank you, Angus. Thank you for those words. And Angus just joined us, so we're so excited to have him on with us as well. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with the first question. And I'll say it again for the job seekers, please have your notes ready to be able to take down some very specific information. But first, we're going to start with a general kind of concept, and that's really, what is the culture of your organization? People talk about a good fit. They say, well, what's the mission? I remember when one job seeker said to me, I told them at an interview, I saw myself in your mission. I thought that was very powerful. So I want to go to each one. We'll start out with Sims. What is the culture of your organization? A bit of history maybe, and what do you see as a good fit for the type of establishment that you have?
Thank you. The mission for Sion Farms is dealing with Mutiny Island vodka, which I hope a number of people have heard of. And we strive to bring the rich tropical experience of the U.S. Virgin Islands to the community around the world. The consumers that we have, being the first and only island vodka made from breadfruit. We support a global community throughout not only our value chain with our environmental initiatives, employment, retention, improved agricultural processes, supporting breadfruit as an ingredient and a food crop with great flavor and fun. A little of the history on it, we've only been the Sion Farms Distillery active 2 years in this August. So it's a relatively new outfit. We've been recognized with the Trees That Feed Foundation. They support us and we support them on helping the hunger around the world by planting breadfruit trees, which is amazingly an item that we support fully. So we support not only the, like I say, the distillery directly here, but an agricultural base around the world. We, like I say, Todd started this, actually built the first bottle of it, I guess you would call it, our first thing down in St. Croix here at Toast with a couple of other gentlemen. And then 2016 came over by the SBDC and got a bunch of help and ended up developing with another distiller in Virginia as a partnership. And they've developed Mutiny Island vodka, as I say, is the only one in the world. It has received world recognition as a humanitarian award for introducing the first commercial use of breadfruit. Since then, it's amazing the different things we have already popped up, from flour to pancake mix to cosmetics, you name it, and people are already utilizing it around the world.
That's great. Great.
That basically is just a general. Like I say, we've been here actively for 2 years. We're delivering to 15 states in the mainland, including Puerto Rico and all the down islands except the French. We have the first order going to Europe probably in about 2 weeks. So well, that's for just a little summary.
That's great, Sims. Appreciate that information very much. Okay, Juliet, would you like to go next? And Juliet, being from a temp staffing agency, there's a different kind of fit. So maybe talking about those dynamics, which is a little bit different. You're on mute.
Okay, I just want to say that we talk about culture a lot in the workplace. What is the culture? And I just want to define what it means to us so that we all know what we're talking about and we're on the same page. Our culture is based on several core values. And although processes and the way we do business may change from time to time, our core values never change. And those core values sit on adding value to our clients. Our clients are businesses throughout the Virgin Islands, and our job is to add value to those clients. And that's what we expect the people that we hire to do also, to add value to the clients. The other core value is respectfulness. Any and everybody who comes in contact with Select Temp staffing deserves respect, be it the governor or the janitor. It doesn't matter. Everybody is entitled, and I use that word very leniently, but they are entitled to respect. I hear a lot of people say, you know, you have to give respect to get respect. No, you don't. We respect everybody that comes in contact with Select Temp staffing. For our temps, one of our core values is supervisorability. You have to have the ability to be supervised. We're placing you in our client's business, and they're requiring you to do various tasks. In order to hit the ground running quickly for that client and to add the value, you have to be able to take supervision and sometimes criticism. So that's very important in what we look for. Crucial is work ethics. You have to go to work, period. That's what our clients are paying us for. So attendance is very important to us, not only to be there, but to be there on time. It's so important that as we interview people to join our team, we have a 5-minute rule. If they're 5 minutes late, I cannot interview you. I'm sorry, but you're already not a fit for Select Temp staffing. Because if you can't show up for an interview to get a job, I can't trust that my client can depend on you to show up for work on a regular basis. So when we talk about fit at Select Temp staffing, we're looking for people who are respectful, people who add value, to have the skill set that our client is looking for, to be supervisable, to have a personality whereby you can take criticism, take supervision, and also, you know, add to that. It's a short-term job sometimes, but if you see something, do something. If you see a process that you can add value to, do that. So those are the type of people that we are looking for, those who can fit into our core values and also fit in with our customers or our clients' culture, because that's a whole next culture. But if you know what we expect for you, you'll be okay in our client situation.
100%, 100%. Great. Brandi, would you like to go next?
Yes. So at the Ritz Carlton St. Thomas, we're looking for hospitality professionals. That meaning those who are passionate about their craft. Let it be you're a chef or a cook and you're passionate about your food, or you work in the restaurants in the front of the house or our front office. We're looking for those who are passionate and aspire to go above and beyond. Our guests are very high demand and they're paying very high dollar to stay at the Ritz Carlton. So they're expecting amazing service. And we are looking for those who are looking for a career in hospitality. And we believe that employment is a partnership. So we do have an interview process that we'll go over. I think that's the next question, but it is very detailed to make sure that we find the correct person for the job and that they're the correct fit and they will enjoy it. So with that partnership, we promise to have the training. We have a 3-day orientation. We have a follow-up training 3 weeks later, continuous training, and then our benefits are quite amazing. So we are looking for those hospitality professionals. Also wanted to let everyone know that we have a new program called the Ambassador Program. This is for those who are taking their first step into hospitality and they may not have any hospitality on their resume, or maybe they just graduated from high school or from college, but they've got that spark in them that they are interested in hospitality. They can apply for our ambassador program. And that program, you have a mentor, you meet with our general manager once a month, and you spend 2 months in one division. So it may be rooms, you may be at the front office for 2 months, and then you switch to another department that you'd be interested in, which may be food and beverage. So then you'd work in one of our restaurants for 2 months, and then you'd come back and you'd meet with your mentor to see where you felt that you were the best fit. And then we'll see what positions we have open. And we've had great success with that. We have over 15 in the program currently, and we have hired on everyone who has graduated so far. So that position is also posted on our website.
That is very exciting, Brandi. I wrote that down right away. So. And in particular, again, for people with disabilities, people who may have employment barriers, what a great opportunity to have a stepping stone approach, a mentorship. I mean, it sounds fabulous, fabulous. Thank you, Brandi. Lisa, we're talking about the culture and the fit at Schneider Hospital.
Yes, good morning again. So Schneider Regional Medical Center was founded in 1982, and we are comprised of 3 facilities. So there's the Roy Lester Schneider Hospital, which is the main facility. That's licensed for 169 beds. We also have the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Center, known as CKCI, which was a state-of-the-art facility that's dedicated to treating people with cancer. And that, since Irma and Maria, has not been repaired as yet. We're in the process of repairing that facility to bring it back to its beauty and to be able to treat our cancer patients on island. We also have Myra Keating Smith Community Health Center in St. John, which is a 24/7 urgent care facility, but also treats general primary and preventative care for the residents of St. John. So it's 3 facilities in one, so that those facilities comprise the entity of Schneider Regional Medical Center. And the goal is for us to be the best medical and healthcare provider in the U.S. Virgin Islands, as well as in the entire Caribbean. One of the things that we have journeyed on recently is being highly reliable, which is very important to us, which means that we're dedicated to providing safe, effective, patient-centered, and efficient care for everyone that comes in our doors. And so we continually seek ways to improve our services, and that would include continuing to seek ways to provide a barrier-free environment for our disabled population. Along those lines, as far as a good fit for employment, would be someone that is customer service focused, that loves to serve people, encourages people, because when you are dealing with patients, you have to remember that they are often in the lowest part of their lives. They're dealing with a lot of pain, and so you have to be very sensitive to the patient. So someone that is customer service focused and likes to serve others would be a good fit, as well as someone that is a team player, because we have to rely on a lot of different modalities, so to speak, to get the patient diagnosis correct, to serve the patient. So anywhere from dietary to radiology to nursing to our physicians, everyone is an essential part of the team. So if you're a team player, you're customer service focused, maybe a good fit. And there are also times where you have to be very flexible, because we're open 24/7. We don't close our doors. We have never closed our doors, even through Irma and Maria. We're essential employees, so we do have to report to work in the event of a disaster. So you'll have to have that flexibility for, to be able to meet that need as well.
Great. Great. And I can tell you just from experience on both sides, employer, job seeker, if you're not the right fit, it's not going to move forward. Okay, so this fit is very, very important. So I'm going to pass the next question on to Melita.
Thank you so much, Shemi. Okay, so as many of you've heard, every organization is different, and what they look for in an ideal candidate varies. One thing that every organization looks to do is to ensure that their recruitment process aligns to their mission, their values, and their vision for their organization. So with that being said, looking at the very beginning, what does your recruitment process look like? From the very beginning, if it's an application, a resume, what are the various phases and steps of the process? If there are assessments required, what does an interview kind of look like? And, just if you can kind of articulate that for our audience. And then, of course, closing with where should they go to apply or follow up? And let's start with, if you don't mind, Ritz Carlton, St. Thomas, Ms. Brandi Charles.
Yes, so our process is that the first step is to go on to the ritzcarlton.com/careers, and you would fill out an application. I do recommend that you do this application someplace where it's quiet, you can focus, and you have good internet connection. It does take about 45 minutes to an hour because you do fill out your previous employment, but then there's also an assessment, and there's different assessments for each different department that we have. Once you complete that, it goes to the human resources team, and we have a recruiter that filters through. And if they feel that you are qualified for the position, they'll contact you via phone. Since COVID, we have changed that process. It used to be in person, but right now it's currently over the phone. And it's a quicker interview of what's your availability, why you're interested in this position. And then if you're forwarded on from that position or from that stage, then you would be called to do an in-person interview with the hiring manager of that position. This is, again, probably an hour-long process. Potentially, there could be another interview with an additional manager. And for some positions, they even meet with our general manager before they are provided with an offer. And again, to apply, it's ritzcarlton.com/careers.
Thank you so much, Brandi. So definitely heard, apply online at ritzcarlton.com/careers. There's an application, there's an assessment attached to the application. There's a phone call they can expect. Definitely some other individuals within the organization as part of that interview process. So thank you. Let's go to Ms. Juliet Bynum for Select Temp.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You can tell we're still getting accustomed to this new technology and the way we communicate these days.
Yeah.
But our recruitment process is twofold, maybe threefold. First of all, you can go to our website at selecttempstaffing.com and fill out an application. Also, we post a lot of our positions and just general information on Facebook. We have a very robust Facebook community. Our situation is a little different being a temp agency. People work temp jobs for various reasons. Sometimes they want to just get their foot in a different type of industry if they want to, see how it's like to work in a certain industry. Some people do it because they're in a gap and they need the money. That's fine too. But our situation is to vet employees to make sure that they are capable and have the skill set to do our client's job. We are basically a liaison between the worker and our client, who can be any type of business, from labor to admin assistant to receptionist, accountant. We staff all types of positions. What I look for in recruiting is to find someone who fits our customers' needs. Our client drives what I look for. But I do something our clients may not do. I consider people that our clients may overlook. We're in an environment where there's a finite number of people with a finite number of skills. So sometimes you have to look for adjacencies in skill sets that translate to what the client needs. And we're very good at doing that. And I think that's really important also for the differently abled people, because you have to look at your adjacencies to skill sets and how you can do them as well or better than able-bodied people. So it's all about being able to fill that skill set with the experience that you have, even though it may not be dead on. The most important thing is attitude. If we can't train you, if we can't supervise you, if you're not hungry and eager to add value to the client's situation, then it's hard. But if you have that person who is really eager to learn a new skill or to develop a skill that they already have, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for attitude, attitude, attitude first, and skill set second. We have to know our clients. We have to know who they are. We have to know what their environment is, because we're matchmakers. So we have to match that temp to that client's not only job, but their whole environment, their culture, as it were. And you know, the work culture varies tremendously from job to job. So if we have someone with a work culture that's a little difficult, I won't say toxic, but I will say there's some jobs that we have to place people who are mature, who understand what they're there for, who won't get involved in the, melee around them, who are focused. So, we have to talk to people for a very long time and understand who they are to find out if they will fit our clients' needs. Now, if it's a specific skill that, you can't learn or you can't refine, then we do assessments for those skills. For example, if it's important for our client to have someone who is proficient in Excel, then I need to know you're proficient in Excel, and we do that by assessment. Or if you're an accountant, I need to know that you're more than you know more than QuickBooks. So I have to do an assessment. So it varies what we do depending on who our client is. But I will say this: I encourage everyone that I place to do your best work. And that is the best way for a temporary worker to be converted to a permanent worker and be on the road to your career.
Absolutely. I love so much of what you just have said, because I think that's what makes you unique as part of our panel today is, you kind of work with a lot of different employers, right? Every employer has their own culture, has their own requirements that they're looking for. Some might need assessment, some may not. So I really do appreciate that. So
and we have to develop relationships with those people, so that with our clients, so that we understand what their culture is. And we're not here to judge it. We're here to place the best person for it.
Like you said, we're matchmakers. So I love that.
Exactly.
We're matchmakers. And if individuals, one thing I did like really a lot, but what you said too was, about those transferable skills, right? You may not have everything, but who has the closest skills that best can suit a particular position. So I think that was a big thing to note. And if individuals are interested in applying for an opportunity with Select Temp, it's www.selecttempstaffing.com.
And join our Facebook groups.
And join the Facebook group. Awesome. Next up, Schneider Regional Medical Center, Ms. Lisa Williams-Norman, and we're talking about the recruiting process for each organization on our panel today.
So for us, we do prefer to have our applicants apply online. Our website is www.srmedicalcenter.org/careers. We do actually accept paper applications as well, which you can get from the Roy Lesser Schneider facility, and you will hand that in back to the HR department. For the government entities, we do require at minimum a high school diploma or GED. So you'd have to bring a copy of that, submit a copy of that with the application, as well as any other certifications that you would have that's related to the job. Once we are in receipt of the application, we do review all applications. They are kept for at least 6 months. So it can, take a little bit of time depending on the position before an interview is called. But our HR recruiter does go over each application. So it is important to complete your application in its entirety. You don't want to have any gaps or any holes. If there are gaps, I would encourage you to write a cover letter to explain what the gaps are and why. And don't discount, if you just graduated from high school, for example, don't discount anything that you've done in high school. So if you were part of any of the clubs in high school, I would put those down on the application because it shows your involvement and your activity and your preparation. That's the key for us, to prepare yourself for the interview as well as the job that you're really seeking. So for example, we have a lot of clinical positions. One of our clinical positions is a certified nursing assistant. So you would have to prepare yourself for that job. You have to actually go to a training program, go through a training program and prepare for the exam and get licensed for that particular job. Now, there are some other jobs that don't require that. For example, if you're looking to work in our dietary service area, we're looking for food service workers. And so the requirement is a little different. And as I said from the beginning, we do look for people that have that customer service friendly attitude. So I would say for all jobs, that's required. But for example, for anything in dietary, your high school diploma is sufficient. And if you have any, skills, maybe you went to Wheatley Skills Center, for example, and did some of their culinary program, you would want to indicate that so that, we can see that, you have prepared yourself for that interest. So once the recruiter reviews the application, then the selection is made for the interview and you'd be called. We do panel interviews. So it's at minimum 3 people would be on the panel. It could be up to 5 people. And we do behavioral questions, so you're prepared for that. After the interview, we do follow up and let you know the status of.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams-Norman. I think, so just to reiterate, www.srmedicalcenter.org/careers, correct? And I think something that was unique about what you stated, I don't know many people are aware of this, you indicated that, you do panel interviews and that, there are behavioral questions. I don't know if a lot of people understand what behavior-based interviewing is, but it's oftentimes in the context of a situation. So it's tell me about a time when, and sometimes people get a little tripped up with that because it's not a traditional question and they have to really think through their past experience and relate it to the position and the opportunity. So that's a key point that I know some people sometimes have trouble with behavior-based interviewing.
For sure.
Very true.
Yep. Next up, for Sion Farm Distillery, Mutiny Vodka, Mr. Sims Lawson.
Yes. As far as our employees go, probably one of the first things that we look for is attitude. But for most of our positions, we simply just do a employment verification and reference check. We don't do drug testing, but we are committed to a drug-free workforce. Biggest thing is we apply either, you can come by and pick up a paper application. You can get online and send your resume in to our outfit. It would be Shawn, SHAWN, at mutinyislandvodka.com. Or, as you come by, again, if you fill it out, they'll take a look at your resume, see kind of what it is you're wanting, trying to find the fit, because one of the big things is we are in relationship with people that walk in our doors from all over the world. So it's the attitude, the fun type of a place that we look for. And come in with that, get your resume in or get your application. You'll be called back as far as an interview if you feel like there's a fit. And then from there, if things seem to work out, you'll be coming to work with us and be happy.
Excellent.
Awesome. So Sean at mutinyvodka.vi, correct? Oh, you're on mute still, Mr. Sim. Awesome.
That's Mutiny Island Vodka.
Mutiny Island Vodka.
.com.
What I love about what you said was, and this kind of go around everything, I think, in our conversation from every one of our panelists, is attitude. How important those sort of, we call it soft skills a lot of the time, but those also personality characteristics, right? Mutiny Vodka, it's a fun environment, someone who has the right attitude. So, across the board, when we look at customer service, when we look at, those attributes of individuals, it really makes a difference in the hiring process, even more so sometimes than even your technical skills.
Mhm.
With that being said, I'll send it back over to you, Sean.
Wonderful, thank you. Excellent discussion. And I really hope two things. One, people have written down the contact. I know we've got that information in the chat. Thank you, Melita, for repeating it. So that should be in the chat for any follow-up. And again, if you've taken notes, to follow up according to how the employer said. Again, they're going to know if you're listening attentively to what their process is. Okay? And do remember, it's a job seeker market. So you're kind of at the equal table as employers. Doesn't happen too often. All right. So the next question I'm going to ask is actually more of a fire round question. And I'm going to ask of each one to answer 4 questions as a yes or no, or the minimal information. So select temp. I'm going to start with you, Juliet. I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I'm going to ask for just a fire response. Do you guys do background checks?
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys do drug test or physical for fitness for duty test?
If the employer, which is our client, requires it, yes.
Okay. And what is the minimal education you need to even get into select temp?
A high school diploma or equivalent.
Okay. Wonderful. Are there any other screening process that a potential job seeker needs to know about for the
It
screening?
depends on the client who will be the whose outfit you will work at. So it's client driven.
Okay. So that's important to know, job seekers, that there's some minimal things that Juliet mentioned, but there's definitely, it always varies based on the client or the customer that she has. So it can change very much so. Okay, Brandi, I'm going to start with you next with the Ritz Carlton. Just kind of go through the same round of questions. What is your minimal education for any position at the Ritz Carlton?
We do not have one.
Okay. And in terms of background checks, do you do background checks?
Yes.
Okay. And any drug test or fitness for duty test?
Drug test, yes.
And are there any other screening process that the job seeker should know about Ritz Carlton?
Depending on the position, if it is a position that is in food and beverage or handling food, of course, requires a VI food handler card, health card. And then if it's a position like a massage therapist, a VI license to be able to perform massage therapy.
Okay, wonderful. Good. Wonderful. Sim, I'm going to go to you next at the distillery. You've already answered some of these, so this should be pretty quick for you. I think you've already answered you don't do background checks, correct?
Right.
You said you don't do drug testing, but you encourage a drug-free environment, correct?
Correct.
And what's the minimal education requirement for any position at your establishment?
There's not one.
Okay. And are there any other screening process that the job seekers should know related to the distillery?
Well, basically, she said a lot of ours is have to have a food service card.
Okay.
That's
Wonderful.
about it.
Okay. Sounds great. Lisa, this is probably a little bit more loaded for you because I know there's a lot more involved in the hospital, but we'll just start again. Background checks you guys do?
Yes, we do.
Minimum education for any position at the hospital.
So the high school diploma or
Okay.
GED.
I'm going to ask these questions separately because of being a hospital. Do you do drug testing?
Yes, we do.
And do you do physical or fitness for duty testing?
Yes, we do.
And are there any other screening requirements that you have? I know the positions vary, but that job seekers should know about.
So it depends on the position. So for example, if you're coming for something administrative, then we do expect that you would have, a certain typing speed, that you would have a proficiency with the Microsoft Office, programs, just depending on what the position is that you're applying for. And in the job description, if you go online to the Schneider Regional Medical Center website, each job description tells you what specific requirements are needed. So we do typing tests. For for our CNAs, our screening would be, do they know the basics as far as temperature, blood pressure, and those types of things. So you'd have to know that as like the back of your hand. So I would encourage them to go online and read the job description pertaining to your interest. I will outline it for them.
Wonderful. I'm glad you mentioned the job description. It is so crucially important that you read the job description, and if there's a cover letter, that you respond to what's in that cover letter and not write a general one. Just a little plug for that. We've got about 10 minutes. We might go over just a few minutes, but I'm going to pass it to Melita back for our last question before we start doing a roundup.
Awesome. And I'll tag in to say your resume should be customized to the job you're applying for. It should not be generic.
Absolutely.
Also, so last question. Everyone, when individuals are choosing jobs, oftentimes, we want sometimes more than just a job. Sometimes we're looking for a career, right? And we're looking for that career progression. Hopefully, might be with the same exact organization. So in that regard, what does your career ladder look like within your organization? And can you give some examples?
Cool.
Let me see, I'm trying to decide who I want to start with. I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, let's start with Lisa, please. Schneider Regional Medical.
So we love to promote from within. So let's say that you can start we've had people start in our dietary department as a cashier and have been promoted to our communications department. Some have been promoted to our business office department, and within the business office, they have progressed from there as well. So there's a lot of room for growth. As long as the attitude is number one, and we've heard it throughout the panel discussion. Attitude is very important. Having that customer service can-do attitude is so very important to growth. But there is growth within the organization. There's a lot of growth.
Excellent.
Thank you. Sims Lawson, Ibaka.
Well, we definitely have the idea that we like to promote from within. We give to people, if they show us an attitude as to what they were looking towards, the tools to do the job with. It may be recently we have had a couple of things, just for examples. We had a lady that was doing some bartending that really wanted to get back in the office work. So she now has switched and she's doing part of each. So she's growing towards office work. We had a lady that was a bartender for us and had learned some of it. And she expressed an interest in food. Well, she's now been promoted to a sous chef, and Chef Todd is working with her. Then I feel like one of these days we'll be calling her chef in front of her name around here. So we found that if there's somebody that particularly likes to be a bartender, then we make sure they learn about mixology. So we kind of try to tend it to what the person wants. We do have in the distillery itself an apprenticeship program. We have one person working with that currently. Honestly, do not expect that to change for a few months till we grow to needing a second one, but we promote from within and where possible.
And I like how it's kind of like, they can go to some other areas that probably are not typical, right? What we'll say traditional pathways. So that's kind of cool. Next up, we have Ms. Bynum. I'm going to ask this question, but I think it's probably going to be looked at a little bit from a different angle. When we talk about career progression and your clients that you've worked with, what have you seen as some of the outcomes for the clients that you've worked with?
Well, recently with the job market kind of with the availability of employees kind of shrinking, I've had probably 12 conversions in the last 2 weeks. And what that means is that people that we place temporarily have been hired on permanently. But this is a funny question because yesterday I went to an insurance firm to renew my automobile insurance. And the person who helped me was a temp that I placed 5 years ago.
Great.
Look at that.
Another story like that is one of the first companies that worked with us at Select Temp Staffing when we opened was a call center. And we didn't have a call center skill on the island. So what we did is we set up a mock call center in our conference room and trained and invited and picked the best of the people who got through that mock call center training. The manager of that call center is a placement that we place. We're now on our second generation. So the manager of the entire call center, she's left St. Croix and she manages the call center in Mexico, Philippines, and also stateside. So she's the manager of the entire call center. And the second person who manages the site on St. Croix is also our placement. And she now hires temps from us. In fact, I have 2 temps starting with her on the 1st of November, and she's the one who calls us and say, well, Juliet, I need X, Y, and Z, when she used to be our temp. So the career path is there if you make it there.
Absolutely. And I love that statement because more and more as we're seeing a lot of different things happening, even in our community and just on a global scale, it really is a job seekers market. And so now if you're looking to really make that shift and go into other areas and industries, you know, that'd be the perfect avenue in, you know, you start and then you can kind of find that pathway to a new occupation or industry.
May I add something quickly to that?
Yes.
It's always been a worker's market because you control your career as a worker. And as you go through an interview process, I hope that you are interviewing the interviewer. Because just because you sit across the seat from an interviewer and they're asking you questions, they might not be the right fit for you. They may not be going where you want to go in your career. So what I advise job seekers to do is prepare yourself before you jump out there in the job market. Do your own skills assessment. What values do I add to the employer? What type of environment do I enjoy working in? What do I want my workday to look like? How flexible do I need my employer to be? And then you go there and make sure that they're checking your boxes. And you can do that when you have honed your skill. Be the best at what you do, regardless of what that is. And you go and you negotiate. We've always been in control as workers. Now it's just a better market.
Exactly. You have options. You know, you can say,
absolutely,
you know what, this doesn't fit me. I actually want to look at this or this other avenue. And the part that I think that we want to hammer home is that you don't have to be afraid, especially if you've honed your skill, as you stated.
Absolutely.
And you know what you bring to the table. The world's your oyster in some ways, right? You have a table before you that you can choose from.
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Brandi Charles.
Yes, so just like all the other companies, we do promote from within. To give you an example, myself, I started at the Ritz Carlton St. Thomas 10 years ago as the HR administrative assistant. I worked in several different positions since. As a recruiter, as our HR manager, HR director of ops, training manager. Just to take the HR team as an example, our current HR manager started 11 years ago on this property in F&B at our sales restaurant. Our HR director started in banquets over 15 years ago. And our administrative assistant and our recruiter both started in the front of the house at the front office several years ago as well. The other great benefit of working for the Ritz Carlton is we're one of the brands of Merit International. So there's 7,000 different hotels around the world, and we're in 131 different countries. So if you are looking to move outside of St. Thomas, there is availability all over the world, which is pretty exciting.
Absolutely. 7,000. Ooh, I'm looking at it.
7,000.
It's global recruitment right there.
Exactly. Global recruitment. All right. So I'm just taking a look at time. And Shani, back to you.
Thank you, Melinda, and thank you, everyone, just for this great information. I hope people have been writing it down, taking, really good information from our panelists. We are so lucky and blessed to have them. They're very busy people. So, we want to start to wrap this up. It is noon. We thought maybe we would not get to questions, but we are keeping all the questions in the chat box, and we will follow up with everybody to make sure that your question gets answered, whether it's through us at DRCVI or to the employers. Okay, so I want to wrap it up by having our last one more round again of just asking each employer to how to best reach them, and just a quick piece of advice that you would give to any job seekers looking to work with you. So we're going to start out. We're going to go back to start with Brandi first.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the ritzcarlton.com/careers is where you can see all of our positions that are open. We have over 400 employees currently, and looking to add more as we're going into high season again. So those positions change on a daily. So I do recommend that if you don't find something today, come back tomorrow, come back in a week, come back in a month, because there will be different positions on there. You can also call our HR office by calling the main line of the hotel, 340-775-3333, and ask to speak to the Human Resources Department. And as advice, as Juliet was saying earlier, it's your career. So follow something that you have a passion in, something that you're going to go to work and enjoy every day.
Excellent. Very good sound advice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Sims, would you like to answer that one in terms of just repeating contact information and what's the best advice you could give to a job seeker?
I think as far as advice goes, I'd say the best advice is to show up to work on time with a positive attitude and ready for a fun but hardworking day. If people are interested, the best way probably right now would be to call the Distillery, which is 340-690-9322, and ask for a Christy Scholl. I put that in the chat also, so and follow up from there.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Lisa, how have you go next in terms of just again, just some contact information and the best advice you can give?
All right, so the contact information, I would recommend that they email us at hr@srmedicalcenter.org. Also go up onto our www.srmedicalcenter.org/careers website for a complete listing of our jobs and the job descriptions, and go from there. Our phone number here is 340-776-8311. And my extension is 5086, but you can ask for HR. If you don't get me, you can ask for anyone in HR, and we have a general line that you would be switched to. My best advice, prepare yourself. Know what you want, know what you offer, and prepare yourself for the job. Do your research, find out what's required. There are a lot of good skills programs on Island. Wheatley Skills Center offers a lot of programs to prepare yourself for technical, clinical jobs, but prepare yourself and polish up your resume and just understand what you want. I would agree with Ms. Bynum. Understand what you're going after, what you offer, and so when you got that interview, you're able to convey that, and we can.
It's so true. And conveying means having passion in your voice. There's too many people going to interviews and they sound like wet noodles. Okay. Got to have passion in your voice. So, thank you for that, Lisa. All right, let's wrap it up with Juliet and contact information, best advice, Juliet. You're giving a lot of good advice today already, but One more time.
Yeah, that interview is a whole conference call in itself.
Right.
But you can find us on selecttempstaffing.com. You can upload your resume and fill out our application. And what that does is that parses you into our database. And when we're looking to fill a specific position, we can type that skill set into our database and come up with all of the applicants who have that skill set. So we're not physically going through your resumes on a daily basis. You are going to a database. We also post a lot of jobs on Facebook, in our Facebook group. So if you see a posting, you can apply for it. But I advise you to apply for jobs based on the qualifications that we ask, because those are solid. So if you know you don't qualify, go to the website and fill out the application that way. I would just like to say something quickly about the ambassador program that Brandi talked about at the Ritz Carlton. I probably get this question 10 times a day. How do we get experience if we don't have experience? Just that, internships, the ambassador program that Brandi talked about, if you're interested in the hospitality field, which is amazing, especially for those of us who live in the Caribbean. I'm not going to put on my fangirl hat for Ritz Carlton, but I love the Ritz Carlton no matter where I travel, and their training program is amazing. So I'm just going to use the rest of my time to give the Ritz Carlton a little shout out, because I think that ambassador program is definitely something that one should look into if you're entry level and hospitality is something that you're interested in.
Excellent. 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 Well, we couldn't have ended this a better way, with just so much good information, lots of, support, a lot of positivity. We know this is a tough time right now, we're still in the pandemic. That's why we did this, this recruitment online. So with that, we're going to start to close it up. I want to hand it over to Melita for any last final thoughts or comments you have for today.
Oh, no, thank you. So my last final thoughts and comments are, a lot of individuals are talking about, whether or not, if I have the experience, I need to acquire experience, how do I prepare for new occupations or new opportunities? I do want to make a plug and say that the Virgin Islands Department of Labor Career Services team here in the Job Center, we are here to assist, whether it's to help you brush up your resume, do some mock interviewing, or connect you with training opportunities, whether it's through the Ralph Whitley Skills Center, CTAC program in St. Croix, or other entities that are part of our eligible training provider list. We have about 15 different entities currently listed as eligible training providers within the territory, offering training from everything from construction to allied health related occupations. So it runs the gamut. We do encourage you to reach out to us here at the Virgin Islands Department of Labor.
Excellent. I'm going to give an extra shout out to Labor because of the Ritz Carlton with their ambassador. The Department of Labor also has what they call transition or stepping stone opportunities where people can try work if they have little to no experience. So that is another support that Labor has as well. And I just want to thank everybody wholeheartedly for joining us, for taking the time. It's so important right now when we are celebrating a National Disability Employment Awareness Month, but we also know there's a very low rate of people with disabilities getting hired. Let's break that barrier. Let's get people jobs. And let's get this workforce going down in the Virgin Islands, okay? So with that, I want to extra thank Stella. She had a lot of conversations to sign. So thank you, Stella, an exceptional job. Thank you again, Kishma, Nicole, for watching the chat box and keeping all the questions. I personally will go through every single question and make sure that I respond to them, whether it's myself or I hand it off to the appropriate employer. And last plug is make sure that if you have you are interested in one of these employers, you follow up with them directly. You say, I attended this, I want to follow up with you. I did the application like you said, and I want to talk to you. Okay, so with that, the rubber is hitting the road for the job seekers. Take advantage of it. It is your market. It's always your market, but particularly it's truly your market. So thank you everyone for joining. This will be recorded. We will let you know where. We're thinking maybe YouTube will have it on our channel, but more to come. And we hope that we will have more employer roundtables with different employers to continue to recruit and to help careers within the Virgin Islands. With that, everyone, have a blessed and have a very safe day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.